Hello Internet, welcome back to our Overrun series. Still in the process of basically kiting enemies and killing them over and over and over. We close this, let's do a reload again. Just reload, store, no that's not what I meant to do. This is not even the right ammo, that's 7.62. So we're here, 900, yeah I mean we have thousands of rounds. Again, we could always scavenge off of corpses as well. Given that most everything drops 223, let's go ahead and reload just everything. Reload, reload, reload. Because we have quite a few clips in our inventory. Where is the... didn't we have a 50 round clip? Reload this with our 50 round clip. Okay. Just in case. So let's head out here again. I know some of you don't like the green tinge of the light amp goggles, but they really are extremely helpful. And I quite like them. I know it can be a little annoying. Yes? Yeah, I thought you were right there, you so-and-so. Still on fully auto. Smash. Yes, stop. We should be getting down to the last, like, dozen or so enemies. You missed all them shots, huh? Ignore. Okay, smash. Yes. Wait. Kill. I mean, one should kill you, really. Okay. Aim. Ignore. Kill. There shouldn't be that many left. We'll pivot to the building to our west again now. So let's run. Okay. Oh, I've missed the door. I'm so dumb. So let's close this, see if they come after us. Yeah, they often get lost in that room. So let's just head to the building to our west. See what we can do from over there. Still hot air pockets down here that are causing us to be warm and then cold and then warm and then cold. Interesting. I'm not sure how, we talk about it every now and then that the poison gas or the smoke effects, I'm not really sure how they dissipate indoors or how they spread out to, I don't know how the gas, what's the word, the gas mechanics, I guess, work in Cataclysm. Do they really expand to fill the spaces they're in or not? I really don't know. Voice is a little hoarse. The dollar store stopped selling my favorite tea, so I'm drinking Arnold Palmer's, which is a mixture of tea and lemonade, which is fine, but that little extra acid really hurts my throat. Geez, always two of you. You never move in singles, do you? Always in pairs, just like XCOM. Okay, see if that drew anything else to the area. Doesn't really look like it. Again, we should be getting down to really the final grouping of enemies here. In fact, you'll see we can pretty freely move around this area now. So let's take care of these last couple and then we'll start pulping all these corpses. Finally, after, we're on episode 6, so it's been about 2 full hours of us just kiting them just to clear this one little area. Let's clear you out. Okay, and I think that's it. So we can start pulping all these corpses. I went to the bathroom in between episodes, ignore, and I washed my hands, of course, because I'm not a heathen. And I saw some old scars on my arm that I had not really thought about in a really long time. Let's go back to single fire here to clear out these less armored enemies. Because we can just shoot them and guarantee we hit them instead of churning out a bunch of fire that's not necessary. Yeah, these scars on my bicep from when I worked in a factory, and I got burned pretty badly. So I worked at a factory where we created displays for stores. We would create the the big, sometimes they're cardboard, sometimes they're plastic, like end caps that you might see at the supermarket that kind of sit at the end of the row, like, oh, new ultra picante salsa, and it's just a rack for salsa and stuff. So we would make those displays. Sometimes that involved just assembling cardboard displays. Sometimes that was hot gluing or stapling things, whatever. And they had these big industrial glue guns that would come down from the ceiling. And we would use them, but they were like ultra hot glue guns, like industrial glue guns. So we've cleared this out. Let's reload our ammo before we really head out of this area again. Reload. No, not. Oh, it's too late. I already pressed the button. Yeah, we should reload those as well. Store an inventory. Oh, no, we have to come over here to do that. My mistake. I thought that was in range, and that's why it was prompting me. I mean, that's plenty of bullets for the time being. Okay, so we've cleared out the area, so now I feel comfortable, like if we settled in for the night, it would be okay. Let's peep what's in here. This looks interesting. See what we got going on. We're going to keep the amp goggles on as well. The only things we have not pulped are these zombies in this building up here, like the infirmary building. You know, I didn't see any really good medicine up there either, now that I'm thinking about it. We'll make a real look at those later. Okay, another warehouse. Oh, it's a garage, of course. So, this looks like... Oh, I saw a zombie. Where? I'm getting zombie pop-ups. Where am I seeing their... Where's their soldier zombie? There's no... Oh. Every time I see him and I double back to try and spot him again, he disappears. Where would I be seeing him? We can't see through any of these rooms. In the hall? Yeah, okay. Hello, my friend. You're moderately injured. I do think some of them got burned up and collapsed on and things, so... Okay, more ammo. I don't know why that bottle of soda keeps popping. I'm not drinking it. I'm drinking Arnold Palmer. So yeah, just garage materials here. Pretty nice, actually, because we can just install stuff that we need into this vehicle. Like, here's a recharging station. And so even if we didn't have that warehouse full of light batteries and we were using the amp goggles, we could just plop this in here, you know, and we could use this to grind up our skills and things, or we could use it as an escape vehicle. There's a lot of opportunity there. Pretty much all the tools that we need here. Definitely want to take a handsaw, or a hacksaw rather. I don't know that we need anything else. Definitely take the repair kit as well. I think we have a screwdriver with fine screwdriving already. So, like, my reasoning for taking some of these items would be that it's stuff that didn't appear in the warehouse. And we would probably be setting up in the warehouse as our permanent base. Is probably the safest area to be, I think, because we're there with the food. So even if we got sieged and we needed to just hide for, you know, several weeks, we could do so because of the food stores. No, don't pick that up. Motor oil. Yeah, I mean, this has a lot of stuff. It is cool. I do like the idea of the base, even if it is a little bit heavy on the monster density. Welding rig. Are you on a vehicle? You are. That's pretty cute. A little welding rig with just a battery in it. Unfortunately, it's a small storage battery, which is not super valuable, but, you know, we could use that for welding pretty much immediately. Nothing in here, but I'm assuming it's an APC. It is, Armored Personnel Carrier, so that's interesting. That's cool. We could use that to escape if need be. Actually, I didn't really look at it. Is it in good shape? Enough wheels, 100% battery, plenty of diesel. Yep, so we could just... if we can clear our way to the entrance or exit or however this base is connected to the road, we could just drive this bad boy out of there. It's certainly durable enough to go through a few hordes if need be. More storage. Also vehicle part stuff. What are you? Hubs. Okay. What was I talking? Oh, yes, of course. So I worked in this factory. And we would have to weld these big cardboard things together. They're not weld. Don't weld cardboard, ladies and gentlemen. No, we would hot glue gun them together, and they were like these really big industrial glue guns that were very, very hot, very, very powerful. And they gave us a tutorial when I started there of how to use this glue gun safely, because being splashed with the glue gun... You know what? Let's go grab an acetylene torch and see what's in this sealed door. That sounds interesting. Curious what would be sealed in the base like this. Welding tank, yes. Or is that what you use for the acetylene torch? Mechanical pumps. Look for a torch. No torch. We don't have a pickaxe or a jackhammer. How do you, is it acetylene? Can you just activate a welder and do it? Or does it have to be an acetylene? Because we have welding tanks. Maybe in here. I didn't really look very closely. Acetylene torch. There we go. We are overburdened. What can we drop that we don't need? Well, don't really need the grenades. Doubt that they're going to do much for our weight, however. Yeah, we're just going to walk. It's fine. We're not that overburdened. And they gave us a tutorial because, like, they were very clear. Like, look, this will absolutely melt your skin off your body if you don't pay attention and whatever. So I'm working, and this place was, like, jam-packed. Oh, we might not be able to do this in the dark, actually. Need welding goggles. Of course I do. Of course I do. And this place was full of, like, kids in halfway houses. So, like, a lot of criminals worked there, myself included. Because at the time I guess I'm always going to be an ex-con, even though I don't feel like one at this point in my life. What am I looking for? Goggles. Yeah, they might actually not have goggles laying around. Seems like the sort of thing that could be easily forgotten. Oh, or there could be a welding mask right here. That's fine as well. And so there were a lot of people who were like coming off of drugs, you know, in this halfway house. They were, you know, got probation and were put immediately into a halfway house for an inpatient program. And they need to work, so they go to local factories. So this kid I'm working with, oh, it instantly did it. What is this? What am I doing here? What's the safest way to do this? This is probably the longest hallway, so we could kite them all the way back to the warehouse. We don't want to take a shot now. We want to switch to running, because we are still in pain, so we are slow. Head down here. Kevlar zombie is concerning. I don't think swapping weapons. Let's wait a few ticks. Okay, we'll take the chance and swap to our Barrett, just because we have less room to work with here. We are already getting lower on stamina. We need to be really careful about that. Yeah, I thought the Kevlar, if anyone was going to survive, it was going to be the Kevlar from the Barrett shot. Everything else should be basically a one-shot, I think. And the only other concern is if that flamethrower guy... Oh, I don't like that they're at the corner but not coming around the corner. If the flamethrower guy explodes, that could be a real issue for us in such a confined space. They're not really coming after us. There you go. I really don't want to get close to this guy. Can we... If we critical him, he'll die in one, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, God, you're Black Ops. I thought you were a bio operator. I was so scared for a second. And so this kid I'm working with, they paired us up. Basically, they just tell you, hey, you're doing this today. Hey, you're also doing this today. So you don't get a choice in who you work with. A lot of the boyfriend, girlfriend, let's back up just in case he does explode. We don't really want to be right up next to him. Yeah, I can see further than you, my friend. So, you know, some of the boyfriend, girlfriend pairs would, like, manage to sneak over and work together. Good, you didn't explode. But mostly it was just whoever they put you with is who you had to work with. So, like, oh, I thought I saw someone illuminating over here. I guess not. Let's not shoot him. Let's shoot the zombie burner. They're called the flamers in their files. It looks like he did not rupture and explode. In the files, they're called flamers, but that's like a slur at this point, so I don't like saying that out loud. You should just die, right? Yeah. And so I was paired up with this kid, and he was from the halfway house, and he seemed like he was not having a great time. I thought there would be something good in here. It's just more monster density. I'm already so tired of monster density. So they can see really well in the dark, I'm going to assume, and that's why he came over individually. Really thought you would die from that. So I'm with this kid, and he gets the glue gun because, I don't know, I'm a passive person, and using the glue gun is more fun than just holding down the cardboard and stuff and making sure everything's lined up is pretty boring. So, you know, he grabs the glue gun, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And they give us these sleeves. They were like these thick protective sleeves that you would wear over your forearms to protect you from being glue gunned, basically. But at the time, I was very muscular, and so my shirts would ride up my bicep, and these sleeves were short for me because I'm a big dude, and they didn't really cover my arm very well. Anyway, I'm holding the glue gun, And we're on, this big work table that's like super heavy and like is intended to be a big workspace, and holding the cardboard, and this kid's using the glue gun, and it's fine for a little while, and then he puts the nozzle flat against the cardboard, which you're not supposed to do, and it sprays me, and it burns the shit out of my forearms, and well, really just the one arm, and I immediately like clenched everything. Like, it hurt real bad. Clenched all my muscles, and I punched the table like as hard as I could because it just hurt so bad. And the table, moves, and the kid jumps back and drops the glue gun. And like, I'm making a fist, like, because I'm clenched up. He's like, "Don't get mad at me, bro." And I was like, "Dude, you just burned the shit out of me. I'm not mad at you, but can't you be like, oh my God, I'm so, like, why can't you have a normal reaction? Which is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Are you okay? Instead of that, he's like, "Don't get mad at me, man. It's not my fault." It's like, yeah, no, it is. Pissed me off real good. And of course, at the time, I was fresh out of prison. And so, like, I really needed a job. And I didn't want to tell them that I had been burned. And I didn't want to tell on the kid because you don't snitch on people. So, like, I didn't say anything. I just rolled my sleeve over it. And, like, if you've ever had a burn and if you touch your burn after you've been burned, your skin just wipes, it just comes off. Like, it just comes right off of your body. So that was real gross. And after a while, it hurt real bad. And I'm trying to work and trying not to be focused on the pain and whatnot. And after like an hour, I went to my boss and was like, "Hey," the person who was in charge of my line, I was like, "Hey, earlier I got burned a little bit. It's kind of hurting. Can I get any kind of medicine? Like, do you have like a nurse's station or something where I can get some painkillers or ointment or something?" And they freaked out. They like lost their shit over me being burned. And they wouldn't let me work. They made me go to the nurse's station and get checked out by the nurse and make sure I was okay. Which is like a totally reasonable thing to do. You're liable, and one of your employees was hurt on campus. It's totally reasonable to be upset about that. And then they didn't tell you about it, and they kept asking me like, "How'd you get burned? How'd you get burned?" And I was like, just using the glue gun. Someone was holding down the nozzle. You told us not to hold the nozzle flush with the thing. That's what happened. It sprayed, whatever. And she's like, "Oh, you were holding it, and you were trying to glue gun by yourself." And I was like, "No, someone else had the glue gun." And they're like, "Oh, we need you to tell us who had the glue gun." And I was like, nah, like, I don't want you to fire him because I told on him. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, "Nah, it's cool. Don't worry about it." And they were mad at me because I wouldn't tell them. And then they wouldn't let me work. They were like, "Okay, well, you're not on glue gun anymore, for sure. Definitely take a shot of whiskey, my friend. You're in pain anyway. That'll help a little bit." So this is just like a command bunker, I guess. It was locked from the inside, I guess. Is there a winch here? Is that why this floor is different? There's probably a winch there. I didn't notice. It looks like maybe command area would be a good place for us to set up a proper base if we were going to stay here. Because it's a little bit more secluded. Looks like maybe they barricaded the entrance. Pretty interesting. And we don't know where these stairs go. It has a card reader that's locked. Part of the building has been collapsed. Oh, this is the admin building south of the infirmary. So the monster density will probably have already left here. But there's no reason for us to track down an ID card for this when we can just walk through it. Plus, we have the acetylene torch, which I don't really need, by the way. Let's go ahead and drop some of this stuff. Acetylene torch, welding tank. Just to free up our inventory a little bit. We can go up to the admin building and see. We're still using the 50 cal. We probably should try to use the M4 as much as possible because of the more plentiful ammunition. Anybody here? There used to be. Hello. Oh, we're still on... No, we're on auto. Go ahead and auto fire this guy. And, yeah, I told him, I really don't want to lose my job. I really need this job. I want to work. It's not like I don't want to work. I know you're mad about it, but just I need to, I need this job. Please don't, fire me for getting burned. And they were like super nice after that, because they were like, I don't know if they thought like, oh, he really wants this job, or if they thought like, oh yeah, we're super liable for this because we don't really train people very well, and but they were nice to me after that. And the nurse was like, you're gonna have real bad scars, and I was like, that's fine. I was like 25. She was like, yeah, all you young boys, you don't care about scars. And I was like, I mean, I really don't. Close this up. We would do the same thing we did previously, which is like dart up and out of the building, kill some enemies, then retreat to a different area, try and approach them from a different angle, etc., etc. Same old thing over and over, which is fine. It's just a little boring. So let's head back up here. I'm a little confused why some things have, like, so this building, it has the card reader so you can't get access to the downstairs, but there's really no incentive to be in that command area, right? It was just some desks and computers. All we got out of it was this map, which is cool. It's good to get military maps, but like, it's not worth the military ID card. Although I guess there's not a lot of use for the military ID cards. We're seeing a lot of density, probably because they heard our gunshots up north and we're moving in that area. I would like to check out these tents, just because I think it's like an emergency staging area for civilian like injuries and stuff, like a makeshift, like a tent hospital. You've seen them in third world countries and places where the Red Cross shows up and sets up a mobile hospital or whatever. So I doubt there's anything really there, but it's interesting. My God, we are bad at aiming. How are we doing on our rifle skill, by the way? Still 3. I only went up like 9%. I've shot so many zombies though. Let's go back to the Barrett. You guys are a little faster than I thought. You got a little closer than I expected. Anyway, long story short, they did fire that kid because I guess they found out like who I was working with, which made me feel bad because like he was in a halfway house. It can be hard to find a job. Like I know, like it's impossible for me to find work as a felon, and it's so stupid. Like you go to like a convenience store, and you're like, hey, I want to be a cashier, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, we need to do a background check. And I'm like, oh, well, I do have a felony from like a decade ago. And they're like, oh, unfortunately, we don't hire felons. It's like, why? Like, my crime has nothing to do with stealing. Like, are you worried I'm going to steal your money? Am I trying to case the place? Like, what are you worried about? My crime has nothing to do with that. Why can't I be a cashier? You know what I mean? And it's frustrating because people are like, well, if you have the option of not hiring a felon or hiring a felon, you're going to pick the non-felon every time. Yeah, but why? I'm just some guy. What is the point of serving time? Like, that's the whole concept of serving time, is that you've paid for your crime. So why do you get it held against you for the rest of your life? I cannot stress to you how many times I've gone to a job interview where they've been like, that's great. You seem really great. You seem personable. You're exactly the kind of person we look for. And then, oh, by the way, we need to do a background check and a urinalysis. I'm like, all right, just to let you know, heads up, I have, committed a crime back in like 2011. It was a long time ago. I was very young. I've changed a lot since then. I went to prison. I've served my time. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, it doesn't, none of that matters. We don't actually care about you as an individual. We just don't hire felons because that makes I don't know why. I guess because they're liable. Like, what if I steal from them or something? Is it somehow, like, is insurance really not going to pay out if it's like, oh, well, you knew he was a felon, you let him access the cash register, so really, we're not going to pay. It's like, no, of course not. What are you worried about? Like, I get, if you're like working in an office, I'm a big dude, right? I'm a little scary. If you're working in an office, I think they say it in The Office, right? They find out in the TV show The Office, they find out one of the guys committed a white collar crime, and like the joke is, like they're afraid of him, even though like Angela's afraid of him, even though it's a white collar crime. It has nothing to do with her. She says like, I'm an 80-pound woman who lives in a dark corner of the office. I don't want to be near a criminal. And I kind of get that mindset of like being afraid and thinking like, I'm a vulnerable woman and this is a man. Oh, he hasn't seen a woman in years. He's probably crazy with lust or something. I kind of get that. But at the same time, it's also ignorant as hell. And that's not really how. Like, look, I just want a job. And really the only job available to me is working in a factory. And it drives me crazy because, like, I worked in a factory, like I said, and my anxiety got really bad. And basically every day I would wake up and say, like, my depression and anxiety got really bad. So I would wake up and I would think, like, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to see all those people. Those people know I'm a criminal. They have a problem with me. And then I would be like, okay, you're just spinning out. Why don't you just get out of bed? We'll go from there. You know, that's step one. Get out of bed. See how you feel then. So I would get out of bed. And I'd be like, man, I feel kind of sick today. I really don't want to go to work. I don't want to deal with those people. You know, all those people around me all the time. They're all fresh out of jail. Half of them, they're getting in fights. They're very angry people. I don't want to deal with that. And I would just say, like, okay, that's fine. Let's just have breakfast, and then we'll see how we feel then. And I would eat breakfast, and I'd be like, yo, my stomach's kind of bothering me today, and I'm just feeling a little stressed out. I really don't want to go. And then it would be like, okay, well, let's just, you know, get a shower and brush our teeth, and then we'll reassess, you know. And I would go through hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. And sometimes I would get all the way to work. Like, I'd be like, okay, let's just drive to work. We'll see how we feel once we get to work. And I would drive to work, and I would get, there was a gas station right next door, and I would get to work, and I would see the people, my coworkers, sitting at there was like a pavilion and like a eating area, and I would see all the customers, the people hanging out before work, the employees before work, and I would just, instead of driving into work, I would drive into the gas station, turn around, go home, and just sleep for hours, because I was like, I was just constantly on the verge of a panic attack when I worked in a factory. Something about being surrounded by people, a lot of whom have criminal histories, a lot of whom are ready to fight at the drop of a hat, who are a lot younger and fitter and scarier than I am. It freaked me out, and I would have panic attacks. And currently, I drive for a living. I basically make deliveries, and I don't really have to interact with anyone. I see my coworkers a little bit, but mostly they're older people, so it's really not a big deal. It's not like I don't know, when I was in jail, and it's the same way when I worked in factories, it's like, it's a lot of like 19 and 20-year-olds who are angry at the world. And, you know, those people are not people I want to be surrounded. It's a lot more tolerable when it's like a 55-year-old guy who's kind of fat because he drives for a living and eats a lot of beef jerky. It's a lot less scary when that guy's your coworker. And I make garbage. I really don't make very much money, but like, it's a comfortable job at the moment. And it affords me a lot of time to do YouTube and Twitch, which hopefully will also earn me money in the future. So I'm trying to take the long game a little bit and work towards something in the future. Like, obviously, YouTube isn't going to make me a ton of money, or Twitch, and it's going to take me a long time to get to a point where I can monetize and get a good Patreon amount going. But it's steps in that direction to try and build myself a future so I don't have to go back to work like that where, you know, I'm constantly on the verge of a panic attack. And anyway, didn't mean to go off on all that. I just wanted to tell you I have scars on my arm from where a kid burned me with glue. They're not as bad anymore. She said if you put mineral oil on them, they would go away. I can still 1, 2, 3 major blotches on my right arm. But yeah, it's not super bad. Anyway, so we've mostly cleared this area. We might play a few more episodes of this, but I think I've seen most of what I wanted to see at this point. I don't know what is the rest of this. It's such a big area. Surely there's like a proper hospital, clinic area. Oh no, we've seen that already. That was this. Yeah. Probably more administration buildings. There's probably housing around. Since it's such a large area, there might be like rows of houses or something. The entrance is to our south, which is pretty far. To my understanding, there's a minefield around the entire perimeter except for that front entrance. So I guess if we were going to clear, we would clear in that direction. But it's so far. and it was probably hundreds of zombies between us and that front gate. We could probably just drive the APC through there. Maybe we'll do that when we're kind of sick of playing this. We'll just get in the car and try to plow our way through to the exit. Anyway, for now, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed my story about being horribly burned and having, not being able to... Well, I didn't even talk about the panic attacks, really, but they were pretty bad, too. But that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more in the near future, and I'll see you next time.